All right, welcome back. We're going to do something different. We're going to go ahead and start looking at some of the Golang core packages. And we're going to start off with the thumped package. And thumped is just short for format. Now there's quite a bit to cover here. So in the first video, we're just going to cover the regular print functions as well as those that format some text for you. Now something that passes in a writer, we'll cover those in a different video. This can be real handy. Say, for instance, you want to, instead of just printing to the terminal, if you want to print to a file, you could do something like that. And we'll cover the scan functions in a different video as well. Now, you're going to notice that some of these might just say print, but some of them will have like a capital F at the front. Some of them might have a lowercase f at the end. Some might even have, an S at the front. And we're going to go over what some of those patterns that you're going to notice, so you can quickly and easily kind of get a general idea of what that function does. So if you see just a function that just says print, like we have here, this means it's going to print to the standard out, which is our terminal. And it's not going to do any fancy formatting. It'll still format escape characters, but it's not going to do real intensive formatting like we will with some of the other functions. If you see a capital S on the front of one of these functions, it just means we're going to be returning a string, as you can see here. So if you're formatting or putting something together, it can be real handy, so you can just easily save it to a string. Now the print F, you have this F at the end, it means that we're going to be doing some kind of formatting. We'll have this format string that we're going to be passing in. And let's say you have a number like this and you want to change it to a dollar amount. Well, something like that's pretty easy using one of the print F functions. And finally, if you see a function with a capital F on the front, it means that you can pass in a writer. So if you wanted to print to a file instead of the terminal, you can do that. If you want to pass it to your web server, you can do that as well. But like I said, we'll go ahead and cover this one in another video. Now, as we get started, there are print functions in the built-in package. So these are built-in functions in the Golang. You can use these. There's no guarantee that Golang is going to continue them out into the future, but just a heads up, they are there. And just as you expect, print does not give you a new line. But you can still pass in a new line character and it will kick it down to the next line for you. Raise that up there. All right, as you can see, we have the, in the thump package, we have a print and a print line. This one will just create a new line. It takes an empty interface, meaning that we can pass, anything we want to. We can pass a string, we can pass an int, we can pass a boolean, no problem. And it's a variadic function. Here we're going to go ahead and pass in 3 different variables. It's no problem. And then finally, we're going to go ahead and return the number of bytes written, and if there was an error. If there's no error, it's just going to be nil. As you can see, it prints off rock. Our escape character here puts puts sky on a different line. We print off different variables. Like I said, pass in multiple variables. No issue. And it's going to how many bytes written. We had no error, so it's just nil. Pretty straightforward. Okay, so here we have some of our print functions. Just notice they have that S on the front. And it means that we're going to be returning a string. So we're returning a string from this function, and then we're just assigning it to the variable a. As you can see, we print that, we get car three different times, or sorry, 4 different times. Notice this one, it has the line on it, print line, so that's why this car ends up on its own line. Also, we can, this one's just kind of to show you there is a new line there, so we're printing A and we're printing B. As you can see, when we created A, it's a regular print. It doesn't give us a new line character, it's just our string car. But when we created B, we used sprintLine, which means it put a new line in there. We'll cover this formatting here in just a second, but I wanted to show that, like, yes, that character, escape character, is indeed there. All right, now so these are some of the general verbs that you'll come across. So here we just created a bool, an int, a float, a string, and a map. And this printf, what it's going to do is we're going to give it our format string, and inside there we're going to put our verb or verbs. So in this one, we're just putting one verb in there, and we can tell because we have that % in front of our letter. So it finds this %, and it's going to look for the letter after, and that's how it's going to tell what verb it has. And it's going to consume, it doesn't print that to the screen, as you can see here, value of default format. You don't see that V there, you just see car. So it's going to consume this, these characters, and it's going to replace it with the formatted version of this variable. So we have variable H here, which is a car, and V is just going to give us our default value for that variable. As you can see here, here's another verb. This one is a capital T, and this is going to return the type of that variable. So it's going to take, say for instance, E, it is true, and it's going to find the type of that, consume these characters and replace it. As you can see, type of E is a bool, and it's going to just do the same thing for each one of those. It's going to find the type, and it's going to return whatever type is there. And down here we have our float, and for this one's just to kind of show that, hey, if I want to put a literal % in there, I just have to put 1% followed by a second one. So it's going to look to the character to the right, and if it's the second one is another %, and it's going to see it as a literal %. It's not going to see it as another verb. So score, and it's going to format our float, and then I want a %, and that's how we printed a % down here without it confusing it as a verb. And more of the there's quite a few different ones, and you can take a look at these. There's quite a few different verbs, like we have some Boolean, integers, for floats. We'll go over some of these, but these are all right here just at golang.org in the FUMP package, and there's quite a few of them there. Now, just looking at integers, so we have our integer 94 here, and for instance, we could print off all the different base types. We could print off base 2 is our binary, our base 8, base 10, which is what we already had it in anyway, base 16, and so on. Now, as you can see, we have a lowercase x and an uppercase x. These look very similar, the only difference being if you want a lowercase letter for your hexadecimal number, lowercase x. If you want uppercase letters, then use the uppercase x. And of course, we can even bring back the Unicode format for that value as well. And we have our floating points as well. We have a small float here, and we have a larger float here. So if we want to have the scientific notation, we can pass in our lowercase e verb, and that will give us a scientific notation. Notice that it uses a lowercase e, and if you want to do an uppercase e, you just use the uppercase e, and it gives you that with scientific notation with an uppercase capitalize E. Let's say with our small float, this one here is just a decimal point with no exponents, and down here it's the same thing. So if we didn't want to use the exponents, just use our F verb, and this one does the same thing. I guess they put it in there in case someone changes it up, it'll still work. Anyway, use the %e for large exponents and F for otherwise. So as you can see here, we're printing off. Oops, that's, you can delete that. There we go. And if we're printing off G, you can see our small float and our large float. There are some restrictions here, so if it gets big enough, it's still going to use an exponent. And of course, with big G, it's just going to do the same thing. When you have an exponent, it's just going to use a uppercase G, where this lowercase g would just use lowercase x, e. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the precision using, the F verb. So let's say we have price values of 3.3 and 11.605. Now, you want your price with 2 decimal places. To fix that, as you can see, we're just using a regular print here, and this is what we get off. But if we use a printf, we can format that, and we have our print %, and we have our f, but if we put a 0.2 in front of that, it means we want a precision of 0.2. As you can see here, where we had just 1 decimal place, it's going to go ahead and add the extra 0 for us. And for this one, where we have an extra decimal place, more than what we want, it'll go ahead and round that up for us. And so you can get 2 values like this that look a lot nicer, say if you want to work with, dollars and cents, for instance. Now, you can change the width as well. As you can see, we have 2 different numbers. They're not the same width, so when we print them off, they're not lined up. Especially the decimal points, just by using the regular print line functions. But by using the printf, I can give it my verb again, which is just %f. But instead of putting we put a 0 behind it, so we went ahead and chopped off any of that precision behind it. So both of those are gone. Of course, it rounded this one up. But by putting a 9 in front of the decimal point, it means I want this width. I want to put a bunch of spaces in front of it. And this can be really useful. Say you're creating a terminal application and you want different things to line up. Even though the numbers may not be the same width when you start, you can still force the width where you can line these up however you want to line them up. Now here's some of our string, some of the verbs that we can use on strings. Now this one is just a regular string, hello, and we're using S and Q and X, and so as you can see here, S is just going to return our regular string. Now if we want it to be surrounded by double quotes, we can use Q, and if, say for instance, we want the hexadecimal of that, we can still, we can get the hexadecimal of those bytes. Notice little x and big X, like we said earlier, little x gives us the lowercase, and the big X gives us the uppercase in our hexadecimal number. And we can even grab the binary of, of one of the bytes. So this one we're just grabbing index 0, which is H, and that just returns our binary right here. Now remember that a string is just a slice of bytes. So we created our slice of bytes here, our slice of byte, and notice I'm not using double quotes, just using a regular asterisk because these need to be runes. If I put double quotes around these, it's just gonna crash. Anyway, we can grab our string. We can, with the Q verb, we can return our our string enclosed in double quotes. Of course, X, we can get the hexadecimal for it, and we can also get the binary for it as well. So just remember that a string is a slice of bytes, and we can interact with it that way. And we can even format using our pointer verb, which we just created just a regular variable here. Now this first one here, we're printing this off the address of this variable. Now in this next one, we're just using the pointer verb, and it's just going to go ahead and return the address that pointer contains. So it's not actually taking, so we're passing in a memory address, which is our pointer. So it's not giving us the memory address of where our pointer is stored in memory. It's giving us the value inside that pointer, which is the same as this one. So both of these are returning the memory address of L, as you can see down here. Now there's quite a bit to go through there. It's just kind of nice to know these things exist. When you're formatting something and things need to come out a certain way, these formatting tools can be very handy. Like I said, in the next videos, we'll take a look at passing in writers as well as some of the scan functions. So I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.